All right, this is Zach from Dead Animal Assembly Plant, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious Podcast.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm not the dog barking. I'm the other guy talking.
I know. Sorry.
You may be hearing dogs barking at my side as well.
My dog's too old. He's passed out upstairs.
That's not a bad gig.
No.
Anyway, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to me.
So, with Dead Assembly Plant, I'm going to give you a chance here to give us a 2-sentence boardroom pitch on what Dead Assembly Plant is.
So Dead Animal Assembly Plant is a collection of a merry band of cannibals hailing from the Sweet Meat Slaughterhouse, bringing you a bunch of dissonant noise and just a soundtrack to exist in this horror that we call life.
That was probably the best 2-sentence pitch I've gotten.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was like, I wasn't ready for that.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Almost like you had it prepped. So when you guys let me just jump right in. You guys are super theatrical. When you guys are you writing with the whole production and theatrical portion in mind, or is that an afterthought?
That's just a really good question. So when we're writing the songs, we don't really think about how necessarily this is going to come out on stage, or how is this going to incorporate necessarily into the world of theatrics. I guess they all kind of tie together because just inherently based on our personalities, the themes that we write about musically do just kind of coincide with the themes that we present with our characters and with our stage show. So it's kind of marrying the two together, but not necessarily writing with the thought of like, okay, well, we're going to incorporate this mask or this prop with this song kind of thing.
Okay. Along those same lines, then, is there a message or a takeaway you want your fans to walk away with after listening to Dead Animal Assembly Plant?
Well, I mean, because we do consider ourselves a horror-themed band, but we don't necessarily go the horror punk route where it's the very tongue-in-cheek, right on the nose, singing about ghosts and UFOs.
Right. So it's not like the Murder Dolls or something like that. It's quite a bit different.
Yeah, exactly. So ours is representing the horror that is real life, because nothing is more terrifying than reality. Horror movies are amazing, and I obviously incredibly inspired by Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the whole Leatherface thing and serial killers. But that's the thing, is like the real life monsters are people. So it's
turn on your news now. It's a horror story.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's kind of the story that we try to come across, is that humans are the real monsters.
Yeah. Just going grocery shopping right now is a horror story. So I agree.
Was this album, or were these lyrics written in during this, or was it finished before this whole nonsense started?
So everything was actually finished before everything started, which kind of shows how predictable humans are. So you could really write about any degradation of humanity, and it'll always be topical. It'll always be relevant. I mean, when was 1984 written? When was Brave New World written? And how topical and relevant are those books today?
Absolutely. 1984 is like one of my favorite books of all time. I had to read it in high school, and I've probably read that book now like 5 or 6 times.
I think we need to throw Animal Farm in there as well.
Yeah, Animal Farm's good.
Oh yeah, I mean, George Orwell is amazing. There's definitely a lot of prophetic nature to sci-fi. There's a lot of, because if you look at the past, humans are they follow a very specific line of thinking and are very reactionary. So you can almost predict how people are going to respond to any given situation.
Cool. Chris?
Where are you guys located? Where are you from?
Portland, Oregon. We're kind of scattered a little bit, but it's easier just to say Portland, Oregon.
Not, I've been down there a few times. I used to live in Vancouver in Canada, so I'd go down there mostly for beer, to be honest.
A lot of beer. Portland loves the drink. Portland loves to drink. It loves to smoke its weed, and it loves strip clubs.
I didn't know it was a strip club place too. But
so what's it like being in your style of band in Portland? Do you find an audience in Portland, or did you have to go outside of Portland to find the audience?
Portland's an interesting city because I've been here long enough to see kind of how the music tastes have shifted over the years. But one thing I can really give Portland credit for is it has a really receptive metal scene.
Really?
Portland loves metal music. It hasn't always been that way. When we first started, we were pretty much just doing shows with in the goth industrial crowd. That's kind of how we got our start. Mm-hmm. But through the years, what has kind of kept us going in this city, because Portland's, while it's getting bigger, it's not that big of a city.
Yeah,
is the metal scene, and they're really supportive. So it's making that kind of transition from dealing with, we're not dealing, but doing mostly industrial concerts, which is kind of, it's kind of a niche market, to moving into metal, which is such a huge market because there's all sorts of different kinds of metal, that's really helped us, I think, keep our heads above water and stay kind of, moving forward.
Absolutely. Being in Portland, you're close kind of to Seattle and that area. Do you ever how often do you tour? I guess is my question.
So we tour roughly like once a year. In the last 3 years, we've been kind of slowly, because it was definitely slow going for us to start branching out and playing out of the area. I mean, we've been playing in the Seattle area for a while since it is so close. But actually touring, it's been the last 3 years and kind of slowly building up, slowly getting further. And last year was our first national tour that we did.
Oh, so that's cool.
Yeah, that was an interesting time.
Why so interesting?
Well, I mean, it was our first time we were on the road for 6 weeks, and it was our own tour. We weren't with anyone else. So being a small band, you hit a lot of interesting towns, play a lot of interesting venues.
Sure.
And, shortly before tour, we bought our own just big blue 1983 Ford bus. And it broke down between Portland and our very first show.
That's rock and roll, though, right?
Yeah. And so the whole 6 weeks, we were just kind of like, are we going to make it to the next show? Are we going to make it home? Is this going to, because, it broke down on like the Jersey Turnpike, for example. And we're like, but it was a lot of fun. It was a grind, but like, I wouldn't change it because the grind just kind of toughens you up.
Yeah.
What was it like living in that bus with 5 other people for that long?
Funny enough, like while there was of course like we had our spats, we had our little fights, but we stayed together pretty well. We didn't really get sick of each other. And what was nice is our drummer, he's also a welder, fabricator, is we were able to, rip out some seats, install some beds. So it wasn't luxurious, but we didn't have to do the traditional renting a van, sleep lean, where you kind of lean on everyone in the aisle. So we actually got to lay down.
Oh, that's positive.
But, Pacific Northwest has like the most mild weather. So we toured during like the thick of summer, back east, down south.
Oh, God.
We were just dying.
And very few showers in between.
We were pretty ripe. I would not have one to come on the bus or to definitely smell our stage outfits. Forget it.
Right. So obviously there's no touring at the moment. So are you guys doing anything different to interact with your fans or anything special?
It's tough because this is definitely the time where bands need to be a little more creative and use technology on their side. Yeah, we're trying to, and people are fickle. People are always moving on to the next thing. So it is difficult to grab people's attention still. So we're trying to stay, stay relevant. Releasing singles here and there for the new album, releasing the new music video. Also, just doing live streams. Just trying to interact with everyone because I think a lot of people feel isolated. A lot of people feel alone, and I think, especially as a band, if there's anyone, it could be one person that looks up to you. If you're able to reach out to that person or reach out to people and talk to them, that it can help us get through everything.
Gotcha. Chris?
I don't have anything else, Bruce.
All right. Yeah, I've got one. Yeah, definitely, for sure. So, very theatrical band, as we covered earlier. What's the craziest onstage incident you've had with all those theatrics and props?
Well, I've definitely been attacked a few times by some of the props. Actually, probably the worst injury wasn't prop related. It was in Tucson, and we were doing a show, and I was thrashing around, and I was kind of headbanging, bringing my head down at the same time. Rebecca, the guitarist, she was throwing her guitar up, and the corner of my eye caught the neck of her guitar.
Oh!
So I have a nice scar there. It cut me pretty good, and that was fun.
Did you finish the show?
Oh, yeah. I did.
That's rock and roll there. You got to finish it.
A beat. Yeah.
No. So the reason I asked that question is I've been asking it for a while, but I was interviewing this band from Europe one time called, I think it's Saltatio Mortis. They're kind of a folky metal band from somewhere over in Eastern Europe. And he told me a story. They were playing Wacken or however you want to pronounce it.
Oh,
and they just getting to get on stage, and he had shorts on, and a hornet went up his shorts and stung him in the nuts. Like right as the show was going to get started. And he said it was the most intense pain ever, and he had to keep playing.
You got to keep playing. No, people in the crowd don't know. Yeah, they don't know. I one show we were playing at this really interesting Masonic lodge, and they had a marble floor. And at the time, we used a fog machine, and the fog machine made the marble floor slick like ice.
Oh, yeah.
During like the first line of the first song, I stepped down and I slipped, and I broke my thumb.
Oh, damn.
And I was just like, whoops, okay, well, just keep doing the show.
Yeah, the show must go on. That's funny.
Exactly.
And probably nobody even notices out in the audience, so who cares?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one good thing about being in a theatrical band and wearing makeup and costumes is you can be a little ridiculous and people just think it's part of the act. And in fact, we do like to roughhouse on stage. Me and Nick, the bassist, we like to fight and toss each other around. And while it's not so much choreographed, but it is kind of like we kind of have an idea how to give and take. Off stage, it kind of can look like we're beating the crap out of each other.
But on stage, it's all part of the show.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
If fans want to find you guys pretty active social media wise?
We are mainly on Instagram, Facebook. We do have a YouTube channel, which has a bunch of like live videos, all of our official music videos, but we are planning on being more active on our YouTube channel, having more exclusive content, just doing more short videos. I mean, especially with doing the makeup, and a lot of people ask us, how long does it take you to do your makeup? What kind of makeup do you use? We might even do like a dead animal assembly plant makeup tutorial, because why not?
I would actually watch that. That would be cool.
I mean, it's all about engagement at this point of the game, right?
Yeah, exactly. Try to think outside the box, or even if it's within the box, what can you do to make it a little bit interesting?
Right. Chris, you got anything else?
I don't, man. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a real pleasure, and great. Good luck with the record.